Thank you. That was amazing. My name's Evan Leslie. I'm the artistic producer of public programs here, and I just have two things to say to you. One is to ask you to turn off your cell phones, please. And the second is to say how excited I am about tonight. I've been excited about tonight for about a year. That's when I first met Jill Williams, and we talked about what tonight would be, and I'm so excited to be celebrating the Clark Center family with the Clark Center family, and to be celebrating Dudley Williams with Dudley Williams family, and Jennifer's family too. And so thank you for joining us here at the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts. And I'm also excited to introduce someone from our library family, my friend and colleague Tanisha Jones from the Jerome Robbins Dance Division.
Hello. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Evan. Well, good evening to you all. And if you don't know, I am the director of the Jerome Robbins Archive of the Recorded Moving Image here in the Dance Division at the Library for the Performing Arts. And we are delighted that you are here this evening to present this program to you, because it brings together two remarkable people, Dudley Williams and Jennifer Dunning, in conversation about an exceptional organization, the Clark Center for the Performing Arts, all of which means so much to us here at the library. Our distinguished guests this evening have long associations with the Jerome Robbins Dance Division. The celebrated career of Dudley Williams is well documented in the Dance Division's holdings, which include photographs, programs, moving image performance documentation, some recorded through our own Dance Division's Moving Image Archives Original Documentations program, and audio oral histories recorded through the Dance Division's Oral History Project. Renowned writer and critic Jennifer Dunning has been a cherished friend of the Dance Division for many years. Along with many of her writings being in the Dance Division's collection, Ms. Dunning has also been a valued contributor to our oral history project, serving as interviewer for such oral history subjects as Diane McIntyre and Jock Soto, to name a couple. The Dance Division is very grateful for our relationships with them. In addition, the Dance Division is honored to be the archive of the Clark Center records, which was donated to us by longtime Clark Center director Louise Roberts in 1995. The collection covers the years of 1960 through 1995, and it consists of 38 boxes of records documenting the activities of the Clark Center. So anyone who is interested in seeing that collection or the moving image and audio and paper-based materials in the Dance Division, please come and visit us up on the third floor of this building, and you will certainly be able to have access to them with a library card. Last but certainly not least, another dear friend to the Dance Division and the person responsible for creating this evening's program is my dear friend, the current director of the Clark Center, Jill Williams, and it gives me great pleasure to invite her to the stage.
Thank you so much. Tanisha just shared half my speech, so that'll... This place has been amazing. I've been stalking them on the third floor for about 3 years. The treasures here are unbelievable, and the staff, I have to thank Tanisha, Evan, and the entire staff up on the third floor. Thank you so much. I have to thank also the steering committee. Could you stand up for a minute, please, while I introduce you quickly? Loretta Abbott, Sandra Burton, Ramona Candy, Bruce Hawkins, Walter Rutledge, and Sheila Rohan. Also, special thanks to our advisors, Donna Long and Avi Spindell of Spindell Media. Thank you so much. Special thanks to Dominique Singer, who's the archivist at Ailey's, who has held my hand many times. Thank you, Dominique. Over 50 years ago, and just 15 blocks from here, Alvin Ailey walked into a YWCA looking for rehearsal space for his debut New York City concert. And according to Jennifer Dunning's must-read biography, Alvin Ailey, A Life in Dance, the director of the Y, Adele Holtz, agreed to provide space for the fee of $15 a month. Apparently, you know I've told you this before, that fee was never paid. But Adele was so impressed with Alvin that she invited him to start a dance program at the Y. In addition, Alvin created many of his ballets at Clark Center, including Revelations, and initiated what later became known as the New Choreographers Concerts that provided other choreographers with a place to show their work. Even when Ailey left Clark Center, he called it his ancestral home, and his spirit permeated it until the end. From those studios on 8th Avenue and a postage-sized stage, the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater started and went on to become probably the most recognized and famous dance company in the world, and Dudley Williams, one of its most acclaimed dancers. In the archives here at Lincoln Center, I found a letter that Alvin had written to Clark Center's director, Louise Roberts. In 1971, she asked him to do a benefit for Clark Center, and he wrote, "I shall be delighted to present a performance of my company at the YWCA to benefit Clark Center. I cannot ever forget how important Clark Center has been to me personally, and I am sure I speak for the entire Clark Center alumni when I say that whatever small contribution I can make to help the center continue its work in aiding anybody and everybody in their artistic endeavors can never repay the opportunity the center gave me in my own growing pains." And that's why I continue to feel, as does the steering committee, how important it is to preserve our history and legacy. We are so honored to have Jennifer Dunning join us today. Her biography of Geoffrey Holder, A Life in Dance, and in theater, dance, and art resonates with love and respect, as does her biography of Alvin Ailey, A Life in Dance, which also includes the best documented history of Clark Center. As a dance critic for the New York Times, she is universally respected by dancers and choreographers, and she covered the companies of Clark Center thoughtfully and respectfully. She also became a personal friend of Louise Roberts, who served as our director for the last 15 years. Alvin Ailey described Dudley Williams as, quote, "amazing, an inspiration to everybody, a real poet with movement." For us, to watch Dudley is seeing pure dance. His line, his phrasing, his integrity have inspired generations of dancers. And I know that for Dudley, dancing is as essential to him as breathing. Next week, Dudley will be performing in an event with Complexion Contemporary Ballet Company, and the co-artistic director, Desmond Richardson, who couldn't be here this evening, said of Dudley, "I just have to say thank you for the many years of selfless giving of your phenomenal artistry. I've learned so much having watched you, have you coached me, and the honor of sharing the stage, an experience that leaves an indelible impression. Having you as part of our Complexions upcoming event elevates it to the heavens." I know. Please welcome Jennifer Dunning and Dudley Williams.
Can't see a thing.
Counting the house.
I am so nervous, I tell you. I'd rather dance than talk. I am so nervous. I'm shaking.
I was teasing him before this started because he's one of the few people who you just look at him, you almost don't have to ask a question, and he's rare and go. So don't pay any attention.
What you want to know?
I have some questions. Dudley, there's some sweet photos. I think you saw them in the slideshow. I wondered how you got to dance. I know you went to high school of performing arts and Juilliard, but how did you start out?
It was an accident.
Acting?
Accident.
Oh, an accident.
It was an accident. I was taking dance class once a week with Hoskins, Sheldon B. Hoskins, as it says in the program. And I really wanted to be a pianist. And I was late with my application for both music and art and high school performing arts. And they wrote me back and they said, do you do anything else? And I was taking dance class once a week. Wearing my brother's shorts and my skinny little legs, still skinny. And I wrote them back and I said, oh, I dance. I didn't know. And they invited me in for the audition, and I passed it. I made the audition, and I told my mother that I would go back to the piano after I get into the high school. But the reason I wanted to go dance at the high school was because I met Elio and Bob Powell and Bill Luther and Mabel Robinson, and I met all these people, Nancy Lang. I met all these wonderful people, and I wanted to be their friend. Elio was my first friend in high school. Oh, I loved him. I absolutely loved him. I used him for homework. I couldn't do anything academically but sit there and knit. In school, I was a horror in high school. But I wanted to go to the high school performing arts because of all these people that I met. And I took the exam. Once I got into the school, we had a concert, the yearly concert of dance. And I said I wanted to switch over to the music department. And I went to Dr. Grossman, was his name, head of the dance department, music department. And he said to me, he said, you know, I've seen you dance at the concerts in June, and you're very good. He said, well, I want to tell you, there are not too many black classical pianists in the world. So I would suggest that you stick to the dance. I said, okay. Closed my book, and I never touched the piano since. I think I played boom, 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 boom on the piano. But my mother was furious because she bought me a spinet. She bought a big piano, and I don't know where it is now. But I never touched the piano again.
But Dudley, why were you taking one dance class a week? How did that happen?
I went to see and hear my uncle sing at the church on the hill. He was a beautiful tenor. And he used to sing when I used to go over to his house. He used to play the piano and sing for me. And I used to dance to his music when he sang. I used to pretend I was dancing. I didn't know anything about dance, only what I saw in the movies with ice skating with Sonia Henney and Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell and all the, actually it was the male Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly. I loved Fred Astaire. He was so classical. And I heard I went to hear my uncle sing, and I heard piano playing going on downstairs. So I snuck out the door, and I went downstairs, and I opened it up, and I peeked through the door. And Mr. Hoskins opened up the door, and he said, "Come on in." And I went in, and that's when I met Mercedes Ellington. And I went home, and I told my mother, "Mommy, I want to take dance classes." "That's for girls. That's for girls." I said, "No, it's not. I want to take dance class." So I went and I took dance class once a week. That's where the once a week came in on a Saturday. And that's how I started dancing, just by accident, opening up a door. You open up a door, be careful.
I know you performed early on, maybe when you were still in school, with Mae O'Donnell. And is that true or not?
That's true,
Yeah.
yes.
And I wondered if you could just, we don't have a lot of time, but if you could just talk a little bit, because I think she's so forgotten. And she told me a wonderful story about you when you were touring with them. And the company was in Utah. She was very worried about you. She tried to protect you because there was a lot of racial stuff going on in Utah then.
Yeah.
Do you remember her sort of mothering you at all that way?
Oh, yeah. That's why I wanted to have pictures of Bob Powell and Ramon, and
Oh, was he in the company too?
they were all in that company. And we went to Utah, and this gasoline attendant, I was holding Susan Charney's hand. I remember her name, but she passed. But I was holding Susan Charney's hand, and we walked by, excuse me, we walked by a gas station, and I was ridiculed because I was holding this white girl's hand. And I went and I told Dr. Yoakum and May what happened, and they fired him. They got him fired.
Oh.
So I won.
Do you feel as if you got something in your early career from dancing her very different kind of work, I think?
Yeah, it was very old-fashioned. You know, I learned how to hold my chest. I didn't have much of a chest, but I learned how to hold my chest from the inside up. It was very good training, very strict, and no mirrors.
No what?
No mirrors.
Oh, that's
It
interesting.
was May was our mirror, and she did wonders with us.
Yeah. Was it she who suggested you go to Graham, or?
Yes, she was the one that said to her, Bill and Bob Powell and Cora and everybody, go and test the waters. Go see what's out there for you. You can't stick with me for the rest of your life. So go out and test the waters. And she never saw us again. We left the company, and we left her company, and everybody went different ways. Elio went to Lamone, Bob Powell went to Graham, Cora Khan, I don't know where she went. She got married, I think. And I went with Elio. I was with Elio for a long period of time. Oh, it was fascinating. Fascinating.
But you said that you actually were sort of almost like a spear carrier for your time in Graham, but tell them the story about Burt Ross.
Oh, yeah. I was a spear carrier in Clytemnestra in the Graham Company. And that's walking back and forth, holding these big bamboo spears. Here I was. First I was on stage, and I started going. Looking at him dance. And we got off the stage, and he came over to me. He said, "Don't you ever do that to me again." I was upstaging him just by looking. Very funny, but I learned something, how to hold myself on stage. You can't blink, you can't breathe, you can't do anything, you can't lick your lips. No looking around.
So you escaped to Ailey.
Yeah, I went to Ailey. Now I was doing Ailey and Graham at the same time. I was doing both of them for 7 years. It's fabulous life. Oh, fabulous. Go out with one company and come back and go out with another company and come back. Or go out with the company when your tour is finished. You stay whatever country you were in. Oh, it was wonderful. I had friends all around the world.
But what was it that drew you to Ailey? Was he just there, the company, or?
I danced with Alvin for that Lincoln Kirsten deal that they had, some ballet, a ballet with Alvin. Dolores, what was her name? Dolores Brown was my partner. Yeah. And we did a ballet. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's in a book somewhere.
Probably.
But I asked him when he did Central Park, I said, Alvin, how come you don't want to use me? You're a ballet dancer. I got to tell you a joke about Alvin. You're a ballet dancer. I said, no, I'm not. I'm with the Graham Company. He said, oh. He was going to Europe, first time in Europe, London and Paris, and he was taking Tally Beattie's works, Congo Tango Palace, Rhoda the Phoebe Snow, and I had worked with Tally at 9 o'clock in the morning at Michael's studio. Oh, dirty, dirty studio. But anyway, 9 o'clock, Tally throwing ashtrays at us, cursing us out. Oh, it was a trip. But I knew the ballet. And Alvin wanted to take those ballets out on tour with him to London and Paris. And so he called me up and he said, Chicken, I'd like to have you come into the company. And I said, Alvin, I would come into the company, but under one stipulation, I don't do this. And he honored that to the day he died.
You're kidding. Wow. Yeah, somebody yelled, why?
Skinny me doing lifts? Who was that? Somebody I know. Sheila. Yeah, I don't do lifts. I've trained and trained and trained to lift you around.
But when you went into Ailey, they were at Clark Center then, right?
They were at Clark
Yeah.
Center, yes.
Yeah.
That's where I learned Twiggy in Revelations. That's the first thing I learned in Revelations. The guy with the branch waiting in the water. That's the first thing I learned. Double attitude. Lateral.
Can you talk a little bit about the atmosphere there? And that it was run by Adele Holtz, as you've heard, but she was quite an amazing, sort of scary person, I thought.
No, she didn't frighten me. No
Fierce.
She was strict.
Yeah.
But that's where I met Thelma Hill, by the way. I met Thelma Hill there. She was one of the teachers at the Hudson School of Dance, where I met Mercedes. I met Thelma Hill at the school on the hill. And then at Clark Center, I ran into Thelma. And I started taking class with her before I got into the high school. And what
was it like there? Was it sort of like a big hangout for dancers, or very crazy?
No,
or?
it was a little room with no windows, I think there were 2 studios, if I'm not mistaken. I think there were 2 studios, but with the bigger studio didn't have any windows. And one year they painted it all black. And I remember being in this black studio with no windows. It was horrible, just horrible.
Did you have any sense that the Ailey, I mean, because I think the Holtzes and Clark Center were such an important part in turning the company into a kind of an institution. Did it feel that way when you were there, that they were kind of solidifying everything?
Yes, it felt like a home.
Yeah.
Because we had performances at the Y there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite lovely. I remember I used to cry after performances
Why?
because there was no more.
Oh.
No more tour. We were in Italy, and that was the end of it. And Bill and I went to Greece, and walking down the beach, in the distance, you see somebody coming, and it was just us. And I said, Bill, this person looks familiar. Don't tell Alvin where we live. And there comes Alvin. We were in Rhodes. There comes Alvin walking down the beach. And we didn't want to speak to him, so we scurried off the beach.
Why?
But he caught it.
Because
Well, we
he
just
was the
had
boss?
we just had a 6-month tour with
Oh,
him.
okay.
We were up to here with Alvin.
Tell us about how you got cast for I Want to Be. I know it's jumping a bit in time, but how you ended up being cast for I Want to Be Ready, that solo of yours, which is on the screen now, actually.
That was in Paris. I was asked to watch James Truitt do it, and I learned the shell of it. And then Mr. Truitt tutored me and pushed me down on the floor and try to get up. Try to get up. Try to get up. Yeah, we were sharing that role. And at that time, Alvin didn't have a written out casting sheet. He would come to you and say, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. And you had to bone up on it. And he kept us rehearsing until 7:45. 8 o'clock was the performance. Right, Loretta? Kept us rehearsed. He rehearsed us until up to curtain call. And we had to go and put on our cookie dust, for the performance. And he would come into the dressing room and he'd say, what are you dancing about? What are you dancing about? What are you dancing about? And you had to know what you were dancing about. So we all had a pat format of telling him, yes, we're doing so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, anyway, going into I Want to Be Ready, James coached me through that. And so I did my first technique in Horton. I never took Horton before. And the most I could do was a lateral, a T, a coccyx balance. That was it. All the rest was Graham. So after James Truitt left the company, I went to Alvin, and Alvin came to me, and he said, let's work on I Want to Be Ready. And we grammatized it.
Did it change a lot over the years?
He changed it, yeah. He changed a lot of it.
Did you?
I changed a lot of it, too. Oh, I got to tell you this funny story about Alvin and my I Want to Be Ready. It came to the point where I would not be a gambler. I'll tell you the reason why. Because if my Lord and so forth and so on. Well, I got the bright idea. I went to John Parks and Calvin Rotardier. And I said, I'm going to throw dice. And I would not be a gambler. I'll tell you the reason why. And we did that, the three of us did that for about 2 weeks. And Alvin finally came over to us and he said, boys, it's not working. But he let us go for about 2 weeks, throwing dice.
Too bad.
Yeah, so that was my introduction to I Want to Be Ready.
No. I wondered, you had such a range of different roles in Ailey, and I know there are slides of Icarus, and were you in Metallics?
I was in Metallics
Yeah, and Caravan.
with Michelle and Loretta. Yeah.
Because it was, I think
Sylvia.
Icarus was very sort of oriental, and Metallics was kind of,
Yeah.
talk just a tiny bit about each one of them, because they're so different.
Icarus I loved. I didn't like it when I first started to learn it.
It was Lucas Hoving.
Lucas
yeah.
Hoving, yeah. I didn't particularly care for it. Chase Robinson taught it to us. And then I got to know what the story was all about and what it was all about. And it showed off my technique, especially my arms. And I loved doing it. I still remember it. I think I could still do it.
Why did you hate it at first?
Because I didn't understand it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't understand it. But then when I got to doing it and seeing the whole thing, and Judith and Calvin working together, it was fun. It was fun to do.
Yeah. And what about, because I saw a picture, I don't remember seeing Louis Falco's Caravan, but the pictures of it are so strange, of you in it.
That was another piece I didn't like.
Why?
I tell you, because everybody was jumping and dancing and skipping around, and I was standing there looking at them behind the curtain, behind a silk curtain. And I would stand there and watch them. And then I realized what the dance was about. It was me remembering I used to do all that stuff.
Oh, no.
And then I started padding my part. You know, you steal everything from Martha Graham, you know? So you pad your part. And I got good reviews for it. I got very good reviews for it. And it was fun to do.
And a little bit about Mary Lou's Mass, because I think that was sort of underappreciated.
Yeah, Mary Lou's Mass was done quickly. Alvin choreographed that very quickly, and there was a section where I imitated Martha Graham, and it was never seen because I got injured and I couldn't do it. So he cut it out of Mary Lou's Mass when they were filming it.
Mm.
So it was never seen.
Did you have any sort of time around Mary Lou Williams at all when the piece was done?
Yeah.
What was she like?
She was a lovely person, very sweet, very lovely person.
Jazz pianist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't talk too much with her.
Because apparently Alvin loved her music.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. I wanted to have everybody get to see, some of them you've already
Mary Lou's
seen.
Mass.
Oh, sorry. There's a bunch of wonderful solo pictures of Dudley. That's what, Homo Sapiens?
Mm-hmm.
George Faison, right?
George Faison, what a treat.
It was.
It was a treat.
But I love those pictures because I think you're so good at being funny. I was always surprised because you're so eloquent, but like I always say to you in the last section of Revelations, I couldn't watch what was going on when he came out as one of the little church-going dudes because he was so funny in a totally non-upstaging way. And it was Homo Sapiens a funny role because it looks...
It was a role for a young person. I was young once. And I started out playing basketball in the street. And then something happened. I became a hobo. And then I disregard all that. Oops, pardon me. I take all that all away, and nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Sounds like you still have good memories of it.
Yeah, it was fun to do. It was a lot of fun to do. I wore engineer shoes. I didn't wear dance shoes. I wore engineer shoes, and I got things out of the garbage pail. It was fun to do. George was a trip to work with. If you
Because
know
he was
him.
so hyper, sort of.
He used to say, "Oh, yes. Yes, Dudley, yes. Try that." Try what? But he used to see movement in his head. He said, "Yes. Yes, I could smell the sneakers." It was fun to work with.
I wondered, I think probably one of the most important things you could talk about is the history, your history of love songs, because that's you.
Oh, I love that dance.
I mean, I think it's that pure technique and style and eloquence of yours. And it was made for you, but could you talk about working with Alvin on it and how it changed?
I played that record. Remember records? I played that record until it went like that. And I said, "Alvin," we were on tour. It was Judy's record. And I borrowed it, and I never gave it back to her. Because I played it day and night, day and night, day and night when we were out on tour. And I came home, we came home from Canada, I think it was. And I said, "Alvin, you got to hear this song. It's so beautiful, so beautiful." And we went back out on tour. And then we came back, and he didn't go on the whole tour with us. We all came back, and Alvin said to me, he said, "I have a surprise for you, chicken." And I said, "What's the surprise?" He said, "I'm going to choreograph a song for you, and only you." I said, "Oh, wonderful." We got into rehearsal. We were on 59th Street, the old school, that old building. And I think I had 2 rehearsals with him, maybe 3. And each rehearsal he came to me, he came and he showed me a few steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Showed me a few steps. And he said, "I'll be right back." And he never showed up until the performance. He never showed up until the performance. He says, "All yours, chicken." As the curtain was about to go up at City Center. "It's all yours, chicken." That's what you saw. That's the first draft that I did. That's what he called it. Then I got a hold of it, and I started gyrating all over the place like I was having a fit.
So about how much of it did he actually set up for you?
What you saw was what he did.
In the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you.
Then I bastardized it. I mean, I tore it apart. All kinds of crazy things. But it worked. It worked.
I always used to wonder, it's sort of stupid, but I always used to wonder what you were thinking about, if anything. I mean, backstage he said that he once did it after drinking a whole pitcher full of red wine or wine.
Yeah, that picture? I was drunk as a skunk. Not really drunk. I was a little tipsy. I had a carafe of red wine in Europe. before the performance. I wasn't really drunk. I never went on stage drunk. Just a little tipsy.
But after you got to the point where you had done it so much and worked so much on it, I always sort of used to wonder in that situation, do dancers think about their own lives when they're dancing, or?
I think about a steak, baked potato, chicken. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. And then there are other times you know, it's hard to explain when you don't feel like dancing. And I tell my students this: you don't feel like dancing, you have to find some way to get whatever you want to say out as far as the work that you're doing. And it is so difficult, because there are days when we don't feel like dancing, believe it or not. And those who are dancers in the audience know what I'm talking about. You can't do this 365 days a year. And then you get to a point where you just do the technique. And I remember I wanted to go out to a bar in Europe, and I didn't want to sweat. All I had was Cicada, Tally Beatty's dance. And I tried to do that without sweating. because I wanted to go out drinking. And I started doing it. And then as I got into the piece, I really got involved in it. You know, so hence the sweat. You know, so I never went out that night.
But what, I guess this is a sort of stupid reviewer thing, but what is the experience of really getting involved in it without expecting that to happen?
You have to have a dialogue, first of all. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what your dance is about. And if it's just technique, that's one thing. But if it's a story ballet, which the Europeans loved us to do, that's why they loved Phoebe Snow, because it was a story ballet. They don't want to just see movement. They want to see a reason for moving. And so you have to get involved that way. Mm. When it's, you know, ballet or modern dance that's kooky, you don't need a story. You know, just have to put yourself in a position and go from there. Mm. But ballets like Congo Tango Palace, you know, you got to be, you just can't go out and do this step. You have to have some kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Yes. You got to have something.
Well, it was so touching, so moving to me looking at some of those photographs of you in the solo photos, because you'll be doing some very beautiful, like that one, technical pose in a way, but there's such emotion coming out of your face and your body.
Because I love the piece so much. I love doing the piece so much. I mean, I really miss doing that work, because it meant a lot. It still does mean a lot to me. I've been so many places in my life and time. I sung a lot of songs. I made some bad rhymes. Acted out my life on stages with 20,000 people watching. We're alone, and I sing this song to you. It's so simple.
Mm. Well, like you're dancing.
It's so simple. And it's gorgeous. How can you not like that?
Did you have a particular person in mind that you were dancing to?
Yes, a lot of people. I've been around the block. I've been around. I was born in a trunk.
But you're still performing now, right?
I'm still performing.
Yeah. With Paradigm or?
Well, we have Paradigm and I. We haven't done anything in a couple of 3 years. I think it'll come back together. But I'm working with Earl Mosley
Oh, yes.
and Complexions, Desmond Richardson. So I'm still trying. Yeah.
Oh. Are you going to be performing with Mosley at all in near future?
I'm being, what do you call it? Help. Documented.
Oh.
And Earl Mosley choreographed a piece for me to finish off the document.
Oh, because he's such an interesting younger choreographer, I think.
Yeah. To answer that young man who just asked me that question, it's still about somebody. I ain't been licked yet.
Oh, Dudley. Thank God. Okay, now to be serious. I'm sorry, guys, but to be serious for a moment again. You're teaching, too. Where?
Yeah, I'm teaching at the Ailey School twice a week.
What level?
Level 2, level 3, depends on what they want to give me.
But it's pre-company or?
No, the young, oh. The young teens, young.
Well, so you're getting a chance to really form.
Yeah,
kids.
I'm trying to get them to not do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Try to get them to just live. You know, take the dare.
Do you talk to them a lot about?
Oh yeah, I
The
talk
art of
to them a
dance?
lot.
Yeah.
I do. With the help of a friend of mine, Deborah Zhao.
Oh, yeah.
She takes my class and sometimes she gives 2 cents, 3 cents sometimes. Which I don't know everything.
No.
So I ask for her help.
Yeah. I know this is, again, a sort of silly question, but what is it you most want audiences to take away with them from the performances you've done over the years?
I hope I reach one person.
I think you might have.
I think I have, according to this room. Thank you.
Just reaching out and making that song for you connection?
Yeah, and reflections. You must not forget reflections.
Oh, yeah, you didn't talk about that at all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was done like in 2 hours in Paris on a rake stage. And he threw me out there. And I was on stage, Alvin, why are you doing this to me? It's in the afternoon. Why are you doing this to me? And I got to tell you a story about a song field. Love songs. I mean, we put the 2 of them together. We had 3 parts. It was my cry to Judy's cry. It was a male cry. I was just dancing, and I would run up stage, and I would do a crochet. I'd put my leg up here. And I would hold, and come out of it. Do what Elliot was doing. That's when I was re-choreographing everything. And I would hold the penché, boom, 2, 3, and go into the next movement. And I enjoyed doing that because I felt like it's a rest. It was the very end of the piece. It was a rest. Go. 2 years. And go. 5 years. And go. 9 years. And go. 9 years I'm doing it. 10th year. I hold. And I go. And Alvin comes backstage after the performance and says, Dudley, this is just like this. Dudley, don't hold the punch so long. I said, but Alvin, I've been doing like that for 10 years. I know, I've been meaning to tell you. Every single time I got to that poche, I would laugh my head off. I've been meaning to tell you. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. We had a good time. We had a good time. We had a good laugh about it.
Before we go to the questions and answers, is there anything you wanted to talk about here that we didn't? Probably lots of stuff, but
No, I think I covered it.
you covered it.
I think I covered it.
Okay.
They're going to ask me all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
There's no dirt, by
Get
the
some
way.
names.
I don't have any dirt, so don't look for dirt. I had a good life. No.
Hello, folks. My name is Ramona Candy. I'm part of the steering committee for the Clark Center NYC program. I'm thrilled and proud to be a part of that. And now it's your chance, an opportunity to ask questions in the formal way, not just calling it out, Abi. But no, it's great. It's great. Thank you. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have a question, raise your hand. I'll acknowledge you. If you'd like to stand and introduce yourself, that would be nice, and then speak nice and loudly, because we only have this one microphone. There's no microphone. Sheila?
My question is, when you joined Alvin's company for the first time, did you have to audition?
No. There was no such
Just
thing.
invited you in?
No, he used to call people up and say, would you like to go to so-and-so and so-and-so and such a date? Are you busy? And there was no audition. Not until we got 59th Street. Not until we got to school on 59th Street did he, and even then, I don't recall anybody auditioning. I think there was, yeah, I don't recall. When we went to 1515 Broadway, that's when we became big shots.
Another question? Bruce?
I want to know more about where you were born, your family, the things that preceded the dance, like the composition of your family.
I was born in a jungle. No, I was born and raised here in New York City on 105th Street, East River Drive project. I went to PS 168 on 105th Street, 104th Street, and First Avenue. Then I moved to the Bronx with my parents. Then I went to Benjamin Franklin Junior High School. Then I moved to the Bronx, the High School of Performing Arts. Then Juilliard for 2 years. And here I am.
Were your parents in the arts at all?
My parents were not, I don't understand where I got it from. I don't understand. My uncle sang. That's the closest thing that I could think of. There's Noah. That's the closest thing I can think of.
Did you have siblings?
I have a brother, I had a sister. My sister passed. My brother's in Kansas City. Very simple life.
Did he come see you dance ever?
My brother, I don't think so.
Your parents?
My
Were they-
parents, my mother, my father saw me dance in the Virgin Islands, and he came down the aisle going, I was introducing him to the public. This is my father. He came down. And my mother saw me do a song for you in 1972. She sat in the balcony of City Center, right? I got seats for her, and I did the whole thing to her. Oh, it was fabulous. Fabulous.
Did she know that it
Yeah.
was for her? Yeah.
I danced for her.
Another question? Young man here.
Who that? Chucky, my cousin.
How did you and my mom and Joyce, my mom Joyce, how did when you were young, how did y'all get together and go to Rock Echo and how was
The family relationship wasn't so swift. I remember saying hello to her. That's about it. I mean, we were not enemies or anything like that. But my parents didn't get along with those people. No, we didn't get along. That was my mother and father. I mean, I could have cared less.
Yes, you.
My name is Lottie Goldoni, and my question for you is, did Alvin teach the classes, or was he observing you being taught?
I don't understand. Teach the classes.
No, Alvin teaching the class that you were in.
Did he teach or did he watch the classes being taught? Is that, yeah.
Did he come around and watch? Is that what you mean?
My question is, did he teach the technique to his class, to his company?
Oh, yes. Oh,
In a
yes.
classroom setting?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that was, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
That's what the question was. Okay.
Yes. I mean, Martha used to choreograph and then bring the choreography into the studio. Alvin used to teach and then take from that and bring the choreography onto the stage.
Oh, the reverse.
The reverse.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Hi, Dudley. It's Betty.
Diane. Betty. I call her Betty Davis of the dance.
So I would like to hear a little bit more about your high school performing arts days and how Elio played an influence in your life.
Elio and I and Dolores Banniston and Ramos, Diana Ramos, and Brooke. Diana Ramos and Gil. Oh, all these people I know. Wow. Diana Ramos, well, anyway, he had a company. Elio had decided to work with Verita Pearson. Did you know Verita Pearson?
No. This was in high school?
This is in high school. We went to the Union Settlement on 110th Street in East Harlem, and we used to choreograph. Win my way, way up, boy. We used to choreograph all these things.
Elio too?
Elio.
That's hard to
Elio
imagine.
was the choreographer for the Corabantes Dance Company.
No.
And That's what I get when I do this movement. That's Elio. It's the Elio movement. Well, anyway, Elio was the choreographer, and we went around to the army bases to perform, and any place that had a stage, we would go on it. Verita Pearson found these places where we can perform for nothing. It's just a matter of dancing. I'm still doing dances for nothing. You know. We're still dancing for nothing. I mean, that was our whole life. Oh, Teddy.
For years, I had that picture on the wall, the group one. And for years, I've sat there in my living room thinking, did he do that leaping in the air? Or
Yes,
was that
I did.
Sit on the side?
No. That I was supposed to do some pictures with costume. And I brought all these costumes, Icarus and all these costumes to the studio for him to take pictures of. And he had a shoot to do.
Who's he?
Bill King, who took the photograph. He had a shoot to do with some models. And he left me in the room with a bottle of vodka. And he said, you could have some if you want. And I poured it, and I drank, and I drank, and I drank, and I drank. And I lied back. He said, okay, I'm ready for you, Mr. Williams. Oh, really? He said, take off all your clothes. I said, okay. Jump, just jump. And I jumped, and I jumped. And hence there's a picture of me this way, a silhouette, with my legs going this way. And that picture. And they put a poster of it.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
Anyone else have a question? I'm going to move on to this side. I don't want to block anybody's view. Yes.
Michelle! All these people.
I had to come.
Oh, bless your heart.
I was supposed to be at work volunteering in the library. And I said, nothing is going to stop me from coming to see you. And you are the reason I am who I am, because I enjoy working with you. I love you very much. And you, I don't know if you live, but you live with me.
Yes.
I just love you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To this day.
When I say lift, I mean pick you up. No. But, you know, like in Phoebe Snowdale Lifts, I danced with Linda Kent. She's like a bird, right on my shoulder. But she used to do the work. I didn't have to bend down. I used to stand there and go, and then it would just jump on my shoulder. And I would turn. Same thing with Graham in Diversion of Angels. I did the yellow. And Cal Freed, who I danced with, she used to rehearse in high heels. Cal was a mess. Anyway, Cal used to jump on my shoulder at the end, and I would twirl out. But I didn't have to go down and pick her up, or go across the stage lifting. That's what I meant. But so good to see you, my darling.
And And not only that, you were one of the first black dancers in the Grand Company.
And Mary was Mary and Matt. I was the first male, black male. I don't mean black male, but black male.
Other questions? Yes.
Mark and Anna, was there any case, did you ever have stage fright, either before or after drinking, or?
I have stage fright right now. Performing, I always had stage fright. I wish the theater would burn down, or I wish something would happen, you know, wish my costume would fall off. Anything to keep from coming on stage. But once you get on stage, you give in. It's once you start moving, but it's to start moving. You can't tell it in the video. You can't tell.
No, you can't. You seemed to be very moved when you were watching the I Want to Be Ready solo.
Yeah, I'm still attached to it. I haven't let it go. I want to see what I could do with it at this stage of my career. I would like to try it again, but the organization, they don't want me to touch it. But I might do it secretly and put it on.
Maybe come back here and do it.
I have the pleasure of working with a young man who's documenting my life story. He's back there with the earphones on, Rohan. He got me out of my funk. He literally came to my apartment. I'm a hoarder. I am admitting that I am a hoarder to the public. I have a problem. And I know I have a problem. And he's the only one that has seen it in this room.
Is it true that the documentary, I heard that the documentary started out being about Westbeth?
Yeah, it did.
What happened?
It started out being a film about Westbeth, and then it sort of developed very quickly into a film about Dudley, but hopefully it will kind of maintain that arc. It's a year in the life, so to speak, of Mr. Williams, and during the course of that year, we've come to the public library and looked at his work. I've sneaked into a couple of his classes. I've shared quite a few lovely meals. And Mr. Williams is working on a solo for the end of the film, which is really, like, I'm getting the hair coming up on my arms talking about it. It's really something special. Yeah, so that's how the film started. Originally, I came to Westbeth purely by accident. I was gallery hopping with actually the subject of my previous film, and I thought, you know, what an interesting space. I wonder who lives here. Clearly there'd be some stories here. And two people within sort of about 24 hours had mentioned Dudley. One woman had observed him from her window and had written a poem about him feeding the birds. And another woman in the building, Edith Steffen, who had danced with Martha Graham and had sort of gone on to do her own kind of, I guess you would say, avant-garde work, had also mentioned that the person she admired most in the building was Dudley. So kind of, I harassed him until he let me film him, pretty much.
When are you aiming to finish the documentary?
There's 3 more weeks of filming now, and then we're hoping to have an edit done by mid-next year. I'm from Australia. The film's had a little bit of funding from some government organisations in Australia. So,
That's
yeah.
wonderful you're doing it.
He saved my life.
I think we have another question here. Yes, your hand was up.
I just wanted to say, I just admire your dancing so much, and I've been watching you at your home base at City Center since 70s, but in all your travels all over the world, do you have like another, a favorite place when you go, an overseas place where a particular country or city is really,
It's hard to say. There's so many places. I've been to so many places in my life and time. There's so many places. I mean, Germany, Russia, Germany, they wouldn't let us off the stage. That's what I was dancing with the company. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I think it was in Munich, we had like 56 curtain calls, and they wouldn't let us go. They put the fire curtain down, they bring it back up, we took off our costume, we had to put it back on, went to take a bow.
Was it after Revelations?
After Revelations. Yeah. Always after Revelations. I always say that I could speak every language in the world, because everybody understands I want to be ready. Everybody understands it. So I'm rich. I'm filthy rich.
I think there was, did you have a question? Lady in the white, yes. First you, and then the woman in the front.
I was wondering at Clark Center, did you take classes with any of the other teachers like Thelma or?
Oh yes, Thelma was my teacher. Pepsi, we take Pepsi.
No, Pepsi.
Oh yeah, during those times I took Carl Shook classes, I took Sibylla Ford classes. Oh, we had all those people.
And James too, with the important technique.
Say that again?
Important technique with James.
With James Truitt. And we had all that, and we didn't have a whole 2, 3, 4 weeks off during Christmas. We had the one day, Christmas Day, back into the studio.
Yep. So Mr. Ailey had the classes first, and then he decided to give later on the company at Clark Center.
Well, he always wanted a company. He didn't really want to dance. When he came from Los Angeles, that's what he really wanted to do was choreograph. He wanted a company to choreograph. I remember when Alvin got his first bunch of costumes. We were doing Brooklyn Academy, and he saw all these costumes. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! He went like that. He saw all these costumes. We were like 12 people at that time. And I mean, Alvin almost had a nervous breakdown. He saw so many costumes. He finally had a company. And a great company it was. I mean, we had it was fabulous. Loretta. Fabulous bunch of people.
Were you ever interested, you talked about all the teachers, were you ever at all interested in Merce Cunningham technique?
No, I didn't particularly. I don't know what that is.
I would love to have seen you do that.
No.
And there was a question in the front, young lady with the stripes on.
Well, it was not really a question. I just wanted to say that I'm from Australia, and you came to Australia many times. Alvin Ailey Dance Theatre came there, and what an inspiration it was for a black school, the first black dance school in Australia, which incidentally was started by an African American called Carol Johnson. You will remember, Elio, she was one of Elio's soloists.
Raymond Sawyer also.
And Raymond Sawyer, one of our teachers as well. And I always say to people, and we're just coming to terms with this in Australia, really. I'm one of the founding members, so I'm way back in the beginning, and I also studied at Clark Center, Alvin Ailey's, and danced with Miss Peters, in fact. Williams came to Australia many times. When you missed him over here, he was over there, and he worked with us as well. And this is working in the black community. So I just wanted to say, since it's such a wonderful audience here, Black Australia has a black dance village. Because it was Alvin Ailey, it was Arthur Mitchell, all these notable black choreographers and dancers that came to Australia, we would get them. We made sure that they came to our studio. And that poster is hanging in our studio.
Loretta?
I remember rehearsing on Christmas.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
don't remember having a lot of holidays off.
No, we never had a holiday off. We did Paris. We did Paris. We were supposed to be there for 1 week, and we were held over for six weeks. And Alvin rehearsed us every single day until the last day. We got on a boat to go around to see Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Seine. We had 1 day. He gave us off in 6 weeks. Cruel.
Nobody protested?
No, we wanted to dance.
It was worth it.
It was worth it, yeah. We got that company going, though, didn't we, girlfriend?
Now you all have a job to do. You can have a seat again. You all have a job to do. We'd like this theater to be filled with Clark Center alumni. So spread the word. If you haven't visited our Facebook page, make sure you join our Facebook page. We have a website, clarkcenternyc.org. But just spread the word that we're doing this. And thank you to all the royalty. I don't know all of you by name that are in the audience for coming out and supporting Dudley. I'm not the thanker, I'm just saying it now because I'm standing here. But there's a lot of royalty that I can't recognize by name, but you're here and thank you for that. Now I'll give it back to Evan. Thank you.
Let's keep talking outside. Does that sound like a good plan? Thank you so much. We were so honored to have all of you here tonight, and especially honored to have Jennifer and Dudley. So thank you.